What's up, Internet World? Matthew here, coming to you today not from a beautiful picturesque location, but in front of an abandoned building. Very important abandoned building. This is Building 93. And it is here at Kings Park Psychiatric Center, or what was Kings Park Psychiatric Center. This is a fitting backdrop for today's vlog. I know last week's work was fairly heavy, as was the one before that. Really, I hope by now you understand that we are really going to keep going down the rabbit hole here. If you're on the journey for personal development, which I hope you are, and you're determined to grow, you have to understand that it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. So, I want to talk to you today about the work of famed psychologist Carl Jung. He said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." To our ancient ancestors, reality itself was divided into no less than two worlds. The world of man, which we're all familiar with, and the world of shadow. And this is a world populated by strange monsters and governed by different physical laws. Now, Joseph Campbell made a very clear case for the importance of symbols to humanity, especially to our ancient ancestors. They helped us to express elements from our unconscious minds that needed to be made manifest in our conscious waking world. To them, it was more than just a psychological exercise. It was a way to keep the very real shadow world from bleeding into this one. Shamanic ritual that our ancestors would perform on the regular was not just to help them express their fears. It was to literally keep the shadow world and the demons at bay by offering them a seat at the table. Now, today, we inarguably lead very unconscious lives. And one of the best movies I've seen on this subject is a documentary called Climatica. In it, the director goes into the reasons why our Western culture, and indeed our entire species, lives in such a low vibratory state of fear and anger. The director of the film, Benjamin Stewart, magnifies that how in ancient times, tribal societies had methods of keeping our conscious and unconscious minds in communication with each other through the practice of many different rituals. I myself have interviewed a Native American shaman on this very subject, and of course the link to that is down in the description below. Meditation, drum circles, dances, spirit walks, and other ceremonies were performed at specific times throughout a person's life and throughout a year, which would not just keep individuals, but also entire cultures mentally and emotionally healthy. In fact, many shamanic rituals were focused solely on bringing forth the monsters out from within a person, or sometimes to bring a person down into that shadowy spirit realm. This was at the very least a form of psychotherapy that actually involved the unconscious mind instead of just sedating it with drugs to let mental and emotional aberrations grow unchecked. Now please understand, I am not using creative license when I say that our unconscious mind is a shadowy underworld all to itself. In the same film, the renowned biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton explains that our conscious mind is where all our thoughts and feelings and emotions are really stored, and indeed our whole identity. And he said that the subconscious mind is the equivalent of a tape player. It records behaviors and at the push of a button plays behaviors. And while this kind of neurological system is helpful to our daily lives, so we don't have to constantly relearn menial tasks, it's not so helpful when it comes to the more abstract aspects of living. Dr. Lipton goes on to explain, "The problem is that the basic patterns of belief and behavior that are programmed in the subconscious mind came from our teachers, primarily our family, parents, and our community." What this means is that no matter how strong-willed and auto-deterministic you believe yourself to be, it's only a shallow delusion. Who you are is often determined by where you grew up. And, of course, this in no way determines your ultimate fate, but it's true that every word and unspoken cue from our environment influences our subconscious minds in ways that we may not be able to fully appreciate. Once we are aware of this issue, however, we do have the choice to alter the patterns that our subconscious mind will pick up and operate from. As I said in my blog, activation energy, creating a better, more fulfilling life for ourselves comes down to being able to force ourselves to do something that we may not want to do. Tasks such as losing weight or starting a business are physical activities that require activation energy in the mind, whereas going in to our own unconscious mind and unraveling the thoughts and behaviors, the patterns behind our thoughts and beliefs requires activation energy as well. It's purely mental, and it's a much more pressing task than shedding a few pounds. That's because up to 95% of our behaviors are controlled by the subconscious patterns put into our minds by other people. As I said in my blog, it's just a ride. As long as we operate from these patterns that are given to us by others, we will never free ourselves from the cycle of war, crime, and destruction that our whole species is trapped in. Of all the points that were made in Kymatica, nothing has been as pertinent or stood out in my mind as much as the words of the director himself. We will take 1,000,000 September 11ths over one moment of true insight towards our self-hate. This elegant string of syllables so perfectly encapsulates the fact that what we hate in ourselves we often find reflected in other people and groups. And because it's easier to lash out at somebody else that we believe to be a monster, the cycle of hatred and violence will continue unabated. Now, coming to understand your inner workings is not pleasant, and yes, it is something that you are going to have to force yourself to do. But good news is it doesn't require you to necessarily dress up in animal skins and dance around a fire or, start a YouTube channel and expose all your mental aberrations to the entire internet. No, you can do this. You could bring your conscious and subconscious minds into communication through much more simpler and pedestrian methods. And I'm going to talk about that in the next vlog. So, as always, I hope you've gained some insight from my words and experiences, and hope I've been able to help you along in your journey. From beautiful and insanely cold Long Island, I want to wish you all peace, love, and protein pancakes. Talk to you next week.